this is a grungy, earthy bird bath. Y'all, I got the gold, and it ain't no ordinary gold. I got the Natasha Denona mini gold, and I didn't just get one gold. Let me do this right. I got 2 golds. The Glow Gold highlighter palette, and of course, Natasha Denona's mini baby 5-pan mini gold palette. Now, I know it ain't no Olympic gold, but I feel like I'm in the winner's corner. Before we get started, you're gonna get a mini review. Now, y'all, with me, I try to make it a mini review, but I don't know, it never comes out that way. But anyway, I'm gonna try my best. A swatches and a mini demo. But before we get started, remember to subscribe, share it with your friends, and without further ado, let us get in. So let's start with the mini gold. This beautiful mini baby gold palette. I love that Natasha makes these super affordable minis. I'm telling you, I think they hit on something good when these luxury brands do this kind of stuff. If you want to listen to Tom Ford, it would be nice too. This is like super duper affordable, $25 US, $33 Canadian. It's cruelty free. The bunnies get to be happy. It has a 24 shelf life, but we all know we don't keep to that, but it's actually a pretty good shelf life. It also is made in Italy, which is fantastic because that's where everything superb is made. The nice thing that Natasha's doing, because I think she doesn't trust Sephora that much. I mean, she loves Sephora, but she is making sure Sephora doesn't bungle up her palettes. So she's now delivering them in these kind of cardboard, supportive, shock resistant casing so that your palettes come intact, because these are very important palettes. Let's compare sizes, because here's a good thing. This is Natasha's normal size palette, 5-pan palettes, and this is the mini. So as you can see here, I'm doing it edge to edge on one side, and as you can see the difference, see the difference in size? Yes. What else do we have about the practicalities of it? Oh yes, the amounts. So inside the palette, I just greased up my hands with cream, so I'm kind of a little slippery right now. Inside the pans, they look tiny, but you actually get 5 eyeshadows at 0.8 grams of product. And when you think about it, let's see what we can compare it to. The typical Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes, even though this one looks a little smaller, this actually only gets 0.74 grams of product per pan. So you're getting more in this little baby. Also, when you compare it to the Too Faced Oblong palettes like this, let's, for example, give the tried and true, the old favorite, the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. You are getting 0.85 grams of product per pan. So basically, it's in keeping with normal eyeshadow pan sizes, except they just look smaller, they look more compact, but you're getting the same amount. And let's face it, y'all, how many of us are actually really using up our shadows? I know my little niece, she does a good job because she doesn't have a 500,000 palettes. I'm proud of her for that, right? And she rocks it. Anyway, I am digressing. So the only one repeat shade in here is this one here, which is dark sepia. Now this is an obscure shade coming from an obscure palette that doesn't get much airtime, which is Natasha Denona's eyeshadow palette 10. It has the 10 pans in it. I don't know why nobody's talking about that, because I think it's a great palette. But anyway, it comes from that palette, so at least maybe it will start to get more known. People will look at it. So I don't think it's gonna feel like a repeat shade, because nobody even knows about that dang palette, which I think should be known. And I love this little component. It is super compact. You've got a see-through design. It's well structured and made. It feels like luxury. Even if it's plastic, it's a good plastic. You get to see through it. It's so compact, you can just throw it in your purse. You can throw it in your makeup bag in your purse. I mean, it's so compact, you might even lose it in your purse. Now, if I compare it to which one? Pat McGrath came out with this baby. This is her version of a affordable luxury baby. And I know it's not a patent graph review, but nonetheless, can I open this? I don't want to ruin my, oh, here we go. I didn't want to ruin my nail polish. Let's open this one too. So the packaging here, you can see the difference in the packaging. One's very compact, more hard casing. This one's a little bit more lightweight, airy-fairy casing. It actually reminds me of when I went to school, the Protractor cases. It's fun, yet you can see that it's made to be affordable. My point is, if I was to choose between the two, as much as I think this is a fun palette, I still like this one better, only because it's more compact. It has a classier feel to it. I don't know, they're different styles. This is like edgy, this is like a kind of fun, more of an editorial, where this is more runway classy, okay? 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But this one I go for because it's very compact and easier to carry in the purse. But I like this one because it's kind of fun and editorial. The mini palettes are the only palettes of Natasha Denona that she does not, these are not removable, they're not magnetic in the pan, you can't push them, pin them out. I do not believe that you can take a magnet and get it out. They are not magnetized and removable. And that's the only thing I have a quibble about the mini palettes, because all her other palettes now of Natasha's are removable. Whether you have to do it with a magnet or whether you can pin them out, they're removable. The minis are the only ones that aren't. Now, I wish she would make them removable. This is the last frontier that I would love for her to change up, because I still would like to remove this. Sometimes I want to mix and match my colors. I'm a mixologist at heart. The color story that I like about this is that even though it's branching off of the gold palette now, I did adjust this gold palette, okay? So I'm giving away my secrets already. So I adjusted this gold palette, I customized it. It's in another video, so you'll see that. The gold palette is brighter. The color key is brighter. I call this the classy runway, and I call this the grunge spot. She didn't repeat the feel of the palette. The greens are not these brighter teals. They're swampy, army greens, kind of like what I'm wearing right now. Now, I'm getting hot flash, which is driving me bananas. So if I start turning red and glassy and sweaty, it's all because of that palette. Now, if you've got the Metropolis palette, you may not need this, but it will extend, it will add a little bit of an addition to the Metropolis palette with more of those grungy greens that you may just want to have. But because I mean, the palette is rather affordable. And of course, what I like about it is like it's kind of a one-stop shop. You've got a complete look in here. You've got your two transitions. You've got a deepening shade. You've got your 2 lid shades. So you can funk it out however you want. I mean, of course, you're not going to be able to pull that many looks out of it, but people are creative, and it's the grunge factor of gold, okay? And I like the fact that nowadays companies and brands are kind of understanding to make a complete eye look even in the small palettes. Natasha, when she first came out with her 5-pan palettes like these, this is actually one that you can get complete looks out of, but her initial 5-pan palettes that she made from 1 to number 13, I think, a lot of them you couldn't really make complete looks. A lot of them were more like the shimmers and the chroma crystals, and there was barely any mattes in there, so it was kind of hard to make complete looks. But nowadays, when she comes out with 5 pans and minis,
6 hours later,
I had to take a balcony and fan break to cool myself down, and I had to stop off the sweat. So I am back. Okay, so now Natasha now makes her 5-pan palettes and her mini palettes with a complete look in mind. I mean, I think also even 5 years ago and back even before that, we didn't fully understand those things. So we were not kind of looking, having that mindset back then, because we didn't do eyeshadow the same way. So now we've kind of finessed it and we know what we want to do with eyeshadow, and so we're getting it done for us properly. This is kind of out of my comfort zone. This is kind of out of my comfort zone. This is Grunge City, okay? I leave it for Hannah Louise posting to do grunge. I'm not a very grungy girl, but we share the same thing in mind, where we're sparkly magpies. We like the sparkle, we like the glitter, we do like color, but she veers off to the grungy side where I kind of stay out in the bright and happy side. Put it this way, she's like a little or tall sparkly color grungy fairy emerging from the deep forest, whereas I'm like the sparkly glitter color fairy that likes to roll herself in the colorful meadow. So that's the way I am. But even us sparkly glitter color fairies that like to roll in colorful meadows still need to have their grungy earthy bird baths, okay? And this is a grungy earthy bird bath. And in fact, as you can see, when you do this look and you're not fully into certain colors, story, but when you do it and you style it all together, because you see, I've got it styled. I got it kind of going on with my Ready for Success top, army swampy top, here we go, let's get it into frame. I've got my army grungy boots and my army grungy. It's kind of fun, it's kind of bright. I got my pants, and in fact these are the 80s pants. Speaking of the 80s, so those are the like the 80s Boy George pants, because the 80s are coming in. So, and this is all up this kind of grungy fall 80s vibe thing, and in fact there's a whole bunch of different decades in here, because in this one, but I'm saying like you got the 60s going on right now. If you look at Marc Jacobs fashion show, he's got a bit of 60s in there. You got the 70s bell bottoms Fleetwood Mac going on, which I'm all for. In fact, I lived through the 60s, the mini skirts and the what have you. I've lived through the 70s bell bottoms, those were my days. I lived through the 80s new wave grunge Blitz Kids. In fact, I didn't even know about the Blitz Kids. I didn't know that it was called the Blitz Kids. I was in the new wave, but it's the Blitz Kids new wave. And right now, I'm kind of a Blitz Kid. Like the 80s, this is the 80s. This whole outfit and this thing is the 80s. So, and this is what's kind of going on right now. 80s, version to 90s grunge, it's all there. We've got all the decades coming on. And that's the same thing with the Metropolis palette. That's the same with the Midnight Sun. It's the Blitz Kids, it's the 80s. We're rocking the 80s right now. I styled it right, and then once you do that, everything just comes together. Everything just comes together. So I'm okay because I am kind of leaning into my grungy earthy bird bath. The first thing I did, because I have a high eyebrow and a good crease hooded eye real estate, I went into Lodge with my Chikuhoda Z11 brush, and I established my upper crease, created a transition. It's a wonderful color because this shade you can go in deeper and it will show up. So I tried to establish a lighter starting transition color with this. I'm NC43 and this works wonderfully. It isn't too light because you can build it out wonderfully. Then I went into my crease area with this lovely swampy army green. This is a cream to powder formula, and I used my Chikuhoda Z11 brush to apply this into my crease right under the Lodge. Once I established my crease, I went into the piece de resistance, the star of the show for me, which is Door, which means gold, and it's almost a chroma crystal formula. It's not quite chroma crystal, but it is shimmery. It almost has the texture, beautiful golden color that I used in Sonia G Builder 1 to start establishing that on my center lid on my eye. And what better way to do it than with an amazing gold glimmering color. And then of course it's never enough because I always want to go with my finger, but I wanted to try and do it with my Sonia G first, but I can't resist my finger, so I continued on with my finger application to apply it, because there's nothing better than a nice warm finger to do it, and if you don't have long nails, you're going to be good. So I tap and I slightly pull, tap and slightly pull. You can get a really nice pigmentation that way. It's not hard to do it with this color. Then I went in with Anthea, which almost has a titch of very fine gold shimmer in. This is kind of like a lovely greeny metallic, and I applied this to either side of the door to kind of frame it. I used my Sonia G Builder one to do that, and then I went in with my Chikuhodo Z10 pencil brush with dark sepia, which is a metallic, in my inner and outer corner, and then I gently put it in the crease. I don't want it to do too much because I don't want it to become too smoky. I didn't want too much of a smoky look because then it will take over my crease. Because I've got a big crease, it can take over the eye and make it too smoky, and I wanted it to be a little lighter, and I went in with my ColourPop pinch blending brush to blend it out in there, and then I went back in with my Chikuhodo Z11 to add in more of the Bia color, my crease again to lighten it up a little. Then I went in and kind of finessed it a bit with all the colors, and this is how I got this eye look right here. This one has been said that it's not deep enough for people who are not of light skin tone. Kind of disagree, because when you put it on you can build it, and I have it on my eye and I find it a great border and transitioning color to start off my crease color with when I start to go into this. You can still see it, but it doesn't overpower it. And let me tell you, I'm sure of it, that if I went in deeper and with a heavier hand, I could get a deeper color. And I am NC43, so I am not having problems at all using this as a transition color. You can go light, or you can kind of go in more impactfully, and you're gonna get a color out of this. It's deceptive. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is these cream to powder formulas. Now, Natasha, when she talks about the Metropolis in her Sephora, the amazing Sephora masterclass, apparently there is 10 cream to powder formulas in here, and cream to powder formulas they're kind of creamy, like not like mushy creamy. They have a creamy quality, and then when you put it on the eye, they don't have fallout because they're creamy. They latch on, but then they blend beautifully. They kind of turn into a powder that doesn't fall out. So that is an amazing formula, and Natasha is a chemist at heart. Her mother was a chemist, and she's a chemist at heart. She even just did a post about her being in the chemistry lab with all the potions and colors and everything, because she mixes those colors with the chemist, and she's right there with it. She likes to experiment with finishes. She doesn't want to just stay with the tried and true. She's always trying to improve. She's always trying to see what other ways she can do things, be innovative. So these cream to powder formulas, even though in the Sephora masterclass she said that they were a new formula, they're not a new formula. She had put them out, brought them out in the Tropic palette, last row, the blue and the green, that were super problematic because they kept on hard panning and you couldn't get any color out of it. Also, she had it in the Cranberry palette. I filmed it where I compare the Cranberry palette, the 5-pan palette that she came out in the holiday season, and then she did a second iteration, the same Cranberry palette that she put out again later on to correct that formula. Because she went back to the drawing board, she finessed it and perfected it. So now these cream to powder formulas work as they should, and they're wonderful, and they're easy, and they're fun, and they don't have fallout. So they're not new. They are perfected. I just wanted to clarify that. So let's do the Glow Gold palette right here. This is an amazing compact. You get 3.5 grams of product in each pan, and I believe it's also 24 months. I believe it's also made in Italy. Let me just check that. It's made in Italy. Not tested on animals. Has a 1.5 year shelf life, but we all know that we're gonna use it more than that. So you've got this one, which is called Diamond Powder, and literally it's a diamond in powder form. It's glitter. It's light. It's almost kind of like a light gold and a more yellowy gold glitter. And then this one is, I'm not good with color, so I may be a little bit wrong. And this one has a base to it, a goldy base to it with similar glitter as in here. So these are a Glitter Dust Fairy Dust Dream. In Natasha Denona Sephora Masterclass, she did say what she likes to do with these, her highlighters, is put it over her powder formula over a cream formula. Because it's so glittery, it's fine glitter, but it is glittery, and there's a lot of people that don't like it. So what I did is, this is the cream one, and I put it over this. So I put it over a pink, seeing that I'm gonna be wearing pink, I did put it over a creamy pink color in her Daria palette. So I applied that with a sponge, and then I went in with a dual fiber brush because it allows for controlled and lighter application of these shadows. I went in mostly with the, what do they call it, the Super Glow, and a titch of the diamond powder to apply on top of the cream. And what happens is, I think this is what I feel this is what is happening, because I did it another time in better lighting than in this. And what happens is that it kind of melds into the creamy highlighter color that you have underneath and gives it more of a sheen and a naturalness to it. So this is a better way to apply these. You still get a little glitter, but it's not overpowering, so you could almost wear it to work if you have a very light hand. If you're not into glitter, this is not the palette for you at all. If you want to spend the time applying a cream highlighter and then applying this with a lighter hand over it, it's a nice way to do it, where you're gonna get a more of a melded, sheeny look, and it won't overpower with the glitter. So this is great for casual wear, weekend wear, runway wear. It's great for the weekend. It's great for casual days. It's great for going out to clubs. Whatever you guys do these days, it's great for that. And I think you can still wear it to work, as long as you do those kind of things that kind of mute the glitter down and help it to look more melded into your skin. Now, final thoughts, I love my gold additions to my not so curated makeup stash. If you don't have any of Natasha's shadows and you want to try one of her shadows, this is a really, really nice way to go, because it's super affordable. You get her luxury in a bite-sized little thing, and you're not having to spend too much money doing it. I think Natasha is brilliant. Now, if you're into Natasha and you have something like the Metropolis, you may not need this, but I can say that it extends the greens in here, but it's more of a luxury to extend the greens in here than it is that you really need to, right? If you have the gold palette, it is a nice addition because the color key is different. Minus my customization, the gold palette has a brighter color key than this. The greens are brighter, tealer greens, there are a lot more golds. It's just a brighter color key. This is a very swampy, grungy feel. So it's a great addition because you're not repeating the color key and the feel of this. You're adding to it, and I think it's a really fun, there's a word I'm trying to, now Hannah Louise would have just known what that word is. A really fun, updated, true to the style of this fall 2019 season swampy green grunge feel. It's a perfect riff off of this palette, and you're not spending too much money doing it. I think this is a really, really wonderful little fun palette. This is to people's taste. There's some people are gonna love glitter in their highlighters and others gonna hate it. So if you don't want glitter at all, or you don't wanna work with adding a cream thing and you don't wanna take the chance, don't get this palette. Just don't get it. But if you like a little bit of glitter, you don't mind it, you don't mind playing with maybe trying to, you know, different techniques, how Natasha spoke about it in Sephora, go for it. This is a nice way to go. That's all I'm saying. I'm super happy that I got this, and if you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up, like, and share it with your friends. Don't forget to hit the bell notification button to keep up with all my videos, and just remember, rock your own kind of gold or grungy rolling in the meadows or coming out of the deep forest, beauty, and keep on going and keep on glowing. I will. Oh my god, I hope I can get something out of this. I do, and I hope I don't look like a grease ball doing it. And Emmy is going to behave himself when he comes into this room. Right, Emmy? Yes. Let me put my foot back in here and just fully commit to this. No more washroom breaks, no more ting ting, no more hot flashes. We're gonna do this again. Get rid of that itch. Hit the, yeah. But for